Welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, a channel dedicated to helping you navigate life's complexities with wisdom and build a fulfilling future. Have you ever yearned for that unshakable feeling, the ability to move through life's chaos without being disturbed? Imagine hearing the world's noise, the judgments, pressures, endless demands, and yet remaining calm, like a mountain untouched by the wind. There exists a strength that doesn't shout, a calm that doesn't rise and fall with the opinions of others. It's not found in books or bought in stores, it's something you awaken quietly, patiently, from deep within. Today, we're not just speaking about peace, we're stepping into 10 rare and powerful Buddhist teachings that can profoundly change how you experience the world. But before we delve into these transformative insights, if you're new to our channel, please consider subscribing to Wisdom and Wealth. We aim to provide practical wisdom for those seeking a richer, more meaningful life. Now, these aren't dusty philosophies meant for monks in distant temples. They are timeless truths for the modern soul, for anyone tired of being pulled in every direction, tired of feeling anxious, reactive, or lost. These teachings show you how to return to your center, to find a peace so rooted that nothing outside you can disturb it. As the Buddha once said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. If you're ready to come home to that stillness, to take back your inner power, and move through life with unshakable calm, stay with us. What you're about to hear may not just be a lesson, it may be the moment everything begins to shift. First, let's anchor ourselves with purpose. There is a quiet strength that comes from knowing who you are and why you walk the path you're on. In a world that constantly pulls you in 100 directions, having a clear purpose is like planting your feet deep into the earth. No matter how strong the winds of life may blow, when you know what truly matters to you, when your values and goals are rooted in something meaningful, you begin to walk with a different kind of energy, not rushed, not reactive, but steady and aware. Your purpose becomes your compass, not only pointing you forward but giving you the strength to move through uncertainty without losing yourself. The Buddha once said, "Your work is to discover your work and then with all your heart to give yourself to it." This isn't just about a career or ambition, it's about finding what makes your soul come alive and committing to it fully. Before we continue, if you're finding value in these insights, please give this video a like. Your support helps us reach more people who are seeking wisdom and clarity. Each morning, before the world begins to ask for your attention, return to your inner map. Remind yourself, what do I care about? What do I want to build? Who am I becoming? These questions are not small, they are spiritual practices. When you take time to revisit your purpose, you strengthen your inner foundation, the part of you that doesn't panic when life becomes uncertain. Even when obstacles rise, even when doubt creeps in, your purpose will keep you grounded, like a ship that doesn't drift off course no matter how stormy the sea becomes. So begin each day not with fear or haste, but with a quiet return to what matters. Let your purpose be your guide, your fire, your reminder of why you began this journey at all. When you walk with that kind of clarity, the world may shake, but you won't. Second, let's master the art of inner shielding. There is a rare and quiet power that comes when you stop giving the outside world permission to disturb your peace. In Buddhist thought, much of our suffering isn't caused by events themselves, but by how we react to them. We believe others are hurting us, but more often, it's our own reactions, our attachments, our inner storms that cause the true pain. The truth is, no one can disturb your inner calm unless you hand them the key. And once you realize this, you begin to reclaim your power. Think of this: someone criticizes you, disrespects you, tries to get under your skin. And instead of reacting with anger or hurt, you pause, you breathe, you see the moment for what it is, fleeting, external, not a reflection of your worth. In that space, you make a powerful choice. You choose not to absorb it, not to let it define your state of mind. In doing so, you become untouchable, not because the world stopped being harsh, but because you stopped letting it control your emotions. As we approach the heart of these teachings, I invite you to subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth if you're enjoying this journey toward inner peace and resilience. The Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." How true that is. Anger burns the one who holds it, it clouds judgment, poisons relationships, and leaves you feeling empty after the fire fades. But when you resist the pull of anger, when you meet it with stillness instead of reaction, you step into a freedom most people never taste. To master this inner shield is not to become cold or indifferent, it's to be deeply wise. It means you still feel, still care, but you choose your responses with clarity. You don't let someone's mood become your own, you don't allow every unkind word to enter your spirit. With practice, you'll find that the sting of insults weakens, the pressure of conflict lessens, and the chaos around you no longer echoes inside. So the next time you feel provoked or wounded, pause. Don't rush to react. Let the emotion rise and let it pass, like a cloud floating through an open sky. You are not that cloud, you are the sky itself, vast, unshaken, free. Remember this, your peace is sacred, and you are the guardian of it. Choose to respond, not react. Choose to protect your stillness, not surrender it. When you do, you become something rare in this world, a soul that moves through fire and remains untouched. Third, let's embrace the wisdom of non-reaction. At some point in life, someone will misunderstand you. They may insult you, belittle you, or speak with cruelty. And in that moment, you will feel the familiar sting, the heat rising in your chest, the urge to defend, to fight back, to prove yourself. But Buddhism teaches a quieter strength, the power not to react, the power to remain still when provoked. Because what someone says to you often reveals more about them than it ever will about you. But before we continue, if you're finding value in these insights, please give this video a like. Your support helps us reach more people who are seeking wisdom and clarity. When a person lashes out, it's usually from a place of inner pain, anger they don't understand, insecurity they haven't healed, or sorrow they don't know how to carry. Their words are not a mirror of your worth, but a reflection of their own suffering. And when you recognize this, something shifts. You stop taking things personally, you stop absorbing poison that was never meant for you in the first place. The Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal rule. When we react with anger, we multiply it. When we respond with calm, we dissolve it. The next time someone speaks to you with harshness or disrespect, pause, not because you're weak, but because you are in control. You are not giving away your peace to every passing opinion. You are not letting someone else's wound open a wound in you. This doesn't mean you have to stay silent or accept injustice. It means you learn to respond not from ego, but from wisdom. You speak not to hurt, but to heal. And sometimes, the greatest strength is saying nothing at all, letting their words fall to the ground without ever touching your heart. As you practice this, you'll notice something beautiful. Insults lose their power, offense becomes optional. You stop being a slave to other people's behavior, you become a master of your own peace. So when others try to pull you into their chaos, remember, you are not here to carry their pain, you are here to protect your stillness, to move through the fire and not be burned. In every insult, there is a choice, and you have the power to choose peace. Fourth, let's consider what happens when your name is spoken without truth. There will be times in life when your name is carried into rooms you've never walked into, whispered with misunderstanding, twisted by judgment, or colored by someone else's pain. It's only human to feel the sting of being spoken about unfairly. But the teachings of the Buddha remind us that peace is not found in controlling others, it is found in mastering ourselves. When someone speaks ill of you, pause before you react. Their words are not about you, they are about them. Their criticism is often a reflection of their own wounds, their own inner storms. And when you realize this, you take back your power. And with that understanding, I invite you to subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth if you're enjoying this journey toward inner peace and resilience. Imagine a person throwing dust into the wind. That dust doesn't hurt the sky. In the same way, another's harsh words do not define your essence. The Buddha said, "Speak or act with an impure mind, and trouble will follow you." That trouble may return to them, but it need not ever reach you, unless you open your hands and catch it. Their negativity is their path, your response is yours. When someone speaks with bitterness, meet it with silence or even compassion, not because you agree with their words, but because you refuse to let those words darken your spirit. You are not here to defend every version of yourself that lives in another person's mind. You are here to live truthfully, to walk with grace, to let your actions speak far louder than your critics ever could. Stay close to your values, be kind, honest, and steady. Let your life be your answer. Those who truly know you, who see how you live, how you love, how you carry yourself, will not be swayed by rumors or small minds. And those who judge you without knowing you were never your responsibility to begin with. There is great freedom in letting go of the need to be understood by everyone. When your peace no longer depends on public opinion, you become untouchable in the most sacred way. So the next time someone speaks your name with ill intent, don't let their words reach your heart. Let them fall like leaves from a tree, noticed, but not held. Your peace is too precious to be shaped by anyone else's misunderstanding. Let your life be the quiet proof of who you really are. Fifth, let's explore the garden of the mind. What you plant, you become. Your mind is sacred ground, a hidden garden no one else can walk through but you. And whether it becomes a sanctuary of peace or a jungle of chaos depends on what you choose to plant and what you choose to let grow. Most people don't realize this, that the world they experience on the outside is often a reflection of the world they've cultivated within. Buddhism teaches us that the mind is the source, the origin point of all joy and all suffering. As we approach the heart of these teachings, I invite you to subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth if you're enjoying this journey toward inner peace and resilience. The mind is everything. Buddha once said, "What you think, you become." If your thoughts are scattered with fear, anger, comparison, and doubt, then even the brightest days will feel dim. But if your mind is rooted in stillness, kindness, and clarity, then even in the middle of a storm, you will stand untouched. Guarding your mind doesn't mean pretending darkness doesn't exist. It means not feeding it. It means standing at the gates of your awareness like a mindful gardener, choosing with care what is allowed to enter and what must be gently released. When envy knocks, you don't need to open the door. When resentment rises, you don't need to feed it. And when shame whispers in your ear, you can simply sit in silence and let it pass, like a cloud drifting through the sky. There will be weeds, there always are, old traumas, harsh judgments, fears you thought you buried long ago. But weeds only take over when we stop tending the garden. So begin again gently, patiently. Each time you notice a negative thought growing wild, don't scold yourself. Just recognize it, and with compassion, choose again. Choose a kinder thought, a more empowering story, a deeper truth. Over time, your inner world becomes less reactive and more peaceful, not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets clearer. In a world that constantly pulls your attention in every direction, guarding your mind also means protecting your energy. Be mindful of what you consume, the news you scroll through, the voices you listen to, the environments you dwell in. Not all information is nourishment, not all company is medicine. Some words may seem harmless, but over time, they shape the way you think about others, about the world, about yourself. Choose your influences with intention. Let your mind be a sacred place, not a dumping ground for chaos. One of the most powerful tools to cultivate this awareness is mindfulness meditation. Through it, you learn to watch your thoughts rather than chase them. You begin to see that you are not your thoughts, you are the quiet space beneath them. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to pause, to redirect, to breathe before reacting. Meditation is not escape, it is return, a return to the center of your being, where clarity lives. So remember, you are always planting. Every moment, every thought, every belief is a seed. What you plant, you will harvest in your emotions, in your relationships, in the way you see the world. Guard your mind like the treasure it is, tend it with love, with patience, with wisdom. And soon you'll find that peace is no longer something you chase, it's something you carry, rooted deep within. Sixth, let's consider the quiet strength beyond fear and shame. There are forces within us that move like shadows, unseen, but deeply felt, fear and shame. Not loud or obvious, but quiet weights we carry, often without realizing how much they shape the way we walk through the world. Fear whispers of what might be lost, shame tells us we're not enough. Together, they build invisible walls around the soul, walls that keep us from speaking our truth, reaching for what calls to us, or simply being who we really are. In Buddhist thought, these emotions are not enemies to destroy, but illusions to see through. Fear arises when we cling to outcomes. But before we continue, if you're finding value in these insights, please give this video a like. Your support helps us reach more people who are seeking wisdom and clarity. We fear failure, rejection, or even success, because each might pull us away from what feels known and safe. Shame, too, is rooted in attachment to how we think we should be seen and how we measure ourselves through others' eyes. But the Dharma teaches nothing we feel is fixed. Emotions arise and fall like waves, they are not who we are, they are passing clouds in the sky of our awareness. To walk the path of awakening, we must turn toward these shadows, not away from them. We must sit with them patiently, gently, without judgment, like a monk observing the ripples in a still pond. We watch the story behind our fear, the voice behind our shame, and slowly, those voices soften. The Buddha never promised a life free from fear, what he offered instead was liberation, the kind that comes from seeing things clearly. When we realize fear is not a command but a passing sensation, when we see that shame is not our truth but a conditioned response, we begin to reclaim our power. Mindfulness is the gateway. Through mindful awareness we learn to hold our emotions like we would a trembling bird, not to suppress, not to fix, but to understand. And in that understanding, transformation begins. Compassion is our companion on this path. When fear rises, we offer ourselves kindness. When shame tightens around the heart, we breathe and remember, even this is worthy of love. The Buddha taught us to treat ourselves with the same compassion we offer to all sentient beings. Why should we be excluded from that boundless care? There is a saying in Buddhism, no snowflake ever falls in the wrong place. Every emotion, every struggle, every fear has a place in our awakening. They are not flaws, they are part of the teaching. To overcome fear and shame is not to erase them, it is to see them clearly, let them pass, and choose not to obey their script. It is to live gently but with fierce presence, to speak even when your voice shakes, to love even when your heart feels uncertain, to be fully human and fully free. So when fear visits you again, and it will, welcome it like an old teacher. And when shame whispers its old story, smile gently and answer with silence. You are not broken, you are becoming. Seventh, everyone you meet is a mirror, a lesson, a teacher. Life is not a straight path, it is a winding trail through forests of joy and valleys of discomfort. Along this path, we meet countless souls, some who comfort us like gentle breezes, and others who stir our stillness like sudden storms. But Buddhism offers a powerful truth, each person you encounter is a teacher, whether they soothe you or stir you. This isn't about idolizing others or accepting all behavior blindly, it's about seeing with awakened eyes, the kind of seeing that asks, what is this moment trying to show me? Even the ones who irritate us, especially them, are often our greatest masters, not because they are wiser than us, but because they reflect the places within us that are still bound by ego, reaction, and expectation. When someone criticizes you, do you close off or open up? When you're someone's rudeness, is it them or your story about them that causes pain? In these questions, a teaching is hidden, not in their words or behavior, but in your response. And with that understanding, I invite you to subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth if you're enjoying this journey toward inner peace and resilience. The Buddha taught that patience is the highest ascetic practice. But patience doesn't grow in silence or solitude alone, it blossoms when we are faced with noise, chaos, and contradiction, and we choose not to lose ourselves. Imagine a candle in the wind. Most flicker and die in the presence of a storm. But the candle of mindfulness burns steady, not by resisting the wind, but by understanding its nature. Each person who agitates you is like a gust of wind, not your enemy, but your trainer. You learn to stay grounded, not by avoiding the storm, but by standing within it without losing your flame. And what about compassion? When someone wounds you with their words, Buddhist wisdom reminds us hurt people hurt people. Their sharpness is often their shield, their anger a scream from an unattended wound. Instead of closing your heart, ask, what sorrow must they be carrying to act this way? This doesn't mean you allow harm, it means you respond with clarity, not cruelty, with boundaries, not bitterness. This mindset transforms daily life into sacred practice. The impatient cashier, the rude driver, the gossiping coworker, they all become mirrors. Through them, you see where you still grip too tightly, where your peace is still conditional. But this practice is not only for difficult encounters. Those who uplift us also teach us how to love, they remind us of what kindness feels like, they inspire us to become more gentle, more present, more real. Seeing everyone as a teacher also humbles us. No matter how much you've read or how long you've meditated, there is always more to learn. A child can teach you wonder, a stranger can teach you empathy, a critic can teach you resilience. When you meet someone who triggers you, pause. Observe the emotion. What thought arises? What belief is being challenged? That awareness is gold, it reveals not only who they are, but more importantly, who you are. This is the alchemy of Buddhist practice, transforming pain into presence, annoyance into awareness. The Buddha once said, in the end, these things matter most. How well did you love? How fully did you live? How deeply did you let go? Every encounter invites you to love more deeply, live more fully, and let go of judgment, control, and pride. Even the uncomfortable moments are rich soil for awakening. But let's be clear, seeing others as teachers doesn't mean tolerating abuse or toxicity, it means recognizing the lesson, integrating it, and then responding with wisdom. Sometimes the lesson is learning to walk away with peace in your heart. When you embrace this view, you stop resisting life's difficulties, you begin to flow with life like a river winding around rocks. Nothing is wasted, everything is useful. And slowly, your journey becomes less about avoiding discomfort and more about extracting wisdom from every moment. So the next time someone tests your patience, take a breath and ask, what is this moment asking me to awaken to? Because in this great classroom of life, everyone you meet is handing you a piece of your own liberation. 8th, living in rhythm with nature. There's a quiet wisdom in the way the river flows, in how the trees sway, in the rising and setting of the sun. The teachings of the Buddha invite us to notice these rhythms, not as distant observers, but as living participants. To live in harmony with nature is to return to our original home, not just the forests or oceans, but to the natural flow of life itself, a movement that is slow, cyclical, and sacred. In today's world, we're often told to push, to fight, to chase, going against the flow, against the present moment. But Buddhism offers something softly powerful, go with life, not against it. Living in tune with nature isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's understanding that just as seasons shift and rivers find new paths, we too must learn to move with change instead of resisting it. Nature reminds us of impermanence. As we approach the heart of these teachings, I invite you to subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth if you're enjoying this journey toward inner peace and resilience. The leaves don't resist autumn when they start to fall, the moon doesn't complain when its light begins to fade. Everything in nature accepts change as a natural truth, not a loss. When we follow this rhythm, we start releasing the constant urge to control, to predict, to keep everything in place. We realize that peace doesn't come from holding life tighter, but from letting go more fully. This doesn't mean we give up on action or duty, it means we act with balance, not with force. A tree doesn't grow in one day, a mountain is shaped slowly over time. Yet both hold their strength. When challenges appear, living in tune with nature teaches us to bend, not break, like bamboo swaying in the wind. We stay grounded in our values, yet open in how we respond. There's a quiet strength in knowing your limits, not as flaws, but as sacred boundaries. Modern life often asks for more than we can offer, more time, more achievements, more growth. But Buddhism gently reminds us that pushing too hard isn't progress, it's burnout. To live in harmony with nature is to see the beauty and rest in stillness, in knowing what is enough. Your body, mind, and soul each follow their own natural rhythm. Respect that. Don't rush through the season you're in. The Buddha shared that true happiness doesn't come from having more, but from being content. Simplicity isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It's the ease of fewer distractions and deeper presence. Nature thrives on balance. Trees don't store up extra sunlight, rivers don't fight to take more space. Everything in nature takes only what it needs. Can we learn to live that way, too? Mindfulness becomes the bridge between us and the natural world. When we become fully present, we start to see how deeply everything is connected, how your breath rises and falls like the ocean waves, how the quiet of a forest can hold more wisdom than countless words. When you slow down, the world begins to open up, not just in its beauty, but in the lessons it offers. Nature also teaches us kindness, not only toward ourselves, but toward all living things. Once we understand that our life is linked to the earth, our care begins to shift. We walk with more softness, we consume with more awareness, we act not from guilt, but from love for the rivers, the creatures, and the future generations. The Buddha once said, just as a snake lets go of its old skin, we too must keep letting go of the past. Look at the forest, it is always renewing, old leaves fall so that new ones can grow. If nature holds on to nothing, why should we? Every moment invites us to let go of the old and welcome the new. But this change doesn't need to be forced, it unfolds naturally, like spring after winter, quietly, patiently, and at just the right time. Living in harmony with nature isn't just a way of life, it's a spiritual path that invites you to return to your breath, your senses, and the deep stillness within. It's a way of living that gently reminds you I am not separate from the world, I am part of its sacred rhythm. If you ever feel lost or overwhelmed, step outside. Let the wind whisper to you, watch the sky slowly change, listen to the quiet song carried by the trees. The earth has been teaching long before we came, and it will continue to teach long after we're gone. Living in rhythm with nature helps us remember that life isn't meant to be a struggle, it's meant to be balanced. Let yourself be led, not pushed, moved by inspiration, not weighed down by pressure. Stay grounded, not grasping. And through this, you'll discover a deeper peace, one that doesn't come from doing more, but from being aligned. Conclusion. And so, dear traveler on this path of stillness, we reach the end of today's reflection. The truth you seek isn't locked away in far-off temples or ancient scriptures, it lives in the quiet choices we make, the gentle moments we cherish, and the flaws we learn to embrace. Each lesson is more than just a teaching, it's an invitation to slow down, to breathe, and to remember that you are already whole. In a world chasing noise, you've chosen stillness. In a world always rushing ahead, you are learning how to simply be. That's not a small thing, that is awakening. If these words touched something within you, a memory, a breath, a quiet wish for peace, then let that be the beginning. Subscribe to this channel if your soul longs for more than just the surface. Like the video to honor the wisdom shared. And let us know in the comments which teaching touched you most today. Because here, we don't just watch, we awaken together. Until next time, walk gently, breathe deeply, and carry peace like a light within.